of Montreal, Freewave Lucifer, album review, let's chat about it. Hey friends, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this latest album from of Montreal, Athens, Georgia, indie pop legends who in their early days, their sort of twee moment where they were part of the Elephant Six collective, blew my mind. I mean, I cannot stress this enough. My high school years had Cherry Peel, The Bedside Drama, Gay Parade on repeat constantly. And my obsession didn't stop there either. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of years, I thought that everything that Of Montreal was doing was genius. And at the center of it all, Kevin Barnes just seemed like a mastermind. Hell, you can pick up anything from Satanic Panic in the Attic to Skeletal Lamping. And here's some pretty mind-blowing, thought-provoking, and ahead of its time synth pop, art pop, Indietronica, and more. But ever since, it's been rough. Instantly after that great streak they were on, they seemed like they got burned out really, really fast. I thought they were going to turn it around because of just how much I loved Lousy with Sylvian Briar. I thought it was one of the best albums they've put out in years. But I feel like ever since, it's gotten even worse. To the point where every time a new Of Montreal album rolls around, I feel like it's more convoluted, more incoherent, and just desperate sounding than the last. They're trying so much but achieving so little. And leading up to this album, I heard these two singles and I wanted to head for the hills. I still really hate them to this day. Let's chat about this thing. This album starts off with Marijuana is a Working Woman, and I am just not really into it at all. That's right, folks. We're starting this album off with the negatives because there are a few. This track is so bad, and I have hated it since it dropped as a single. Now, I will say this, the production is actually really colorful, really cosmic. But Kevin Barnes, let me let you in on a little secret. Your half-baked ideas and your far-out notions sounded a lot cooler 20 years ago. This is so half-baked and sloppy. There is a lot going on this track. From a distance, it sounds pretty exciting, but it just sounds like a jam session gone wrong with no direction. This just sounds like it sounded so much better on paper. Then we have Blab Sabbath, Lathe of Maiden. This doesn't do it for me either, sadly, which sucks. I also did not enjoy this from the first time I heard it. And listen, I do salute the beat that pops in at one point, that Indietronica beat that rolls in. My foot was tapping. Once again, it is the clashing ideas, the bouncing around of thought to thought with no love or no care. This could have been really cool, but it just sounds messy. Like, this sounds like somebody's art school music class project that they got, like, I don't know, like a D+ on. And listen, it's not like it's all bad ideas here. Some are actually pretty good, but 6 minutes of it, no. And this album's finale, it doesn't do much better for me. And I will give credit where it's due. On one hand, the production's pretty cool again, and the pacing's really cool. But this is back to square one, and Kevin Barnes, his performance here is just cringeworthy line after cringeworthy line. And because of that, everything else kind of goes to shit, sadly. The good news is, though, that while I was dreading this album and borderline didn't review it, there's actually a lot of good material here. Take, for example, Ofrenda-Flanger-Ego-à Gogo. This is really cool. The whimsical atmosphere and the very spacey instrumental that we get here, it's actually a really nice change of pace. Hearing the messy sort of jams at the earlier moments of this album just turned me off so much that this nice, spacious, cinematic track is actually doing a lot for me. And that brings me to Mr. Kevin Barnes, who is really the seller of this album. When he's on point, this album's pretty good, but when he's off point, he just sounds really hard to listen to. But here, he sounds genuinely cool. This is not one of his more upbeat and enigmatic and manic performances here. No, this is much more laid back, much more reserved. And that's what I like about it, because after that, we get a slew of thoughts and notions on this track that are actually pretty coherent, or about as very coherent as Of Montreal can be in 2022. It ends up being really sweet. I also like Après, the Dèclassè. Once again, this is Of Montreal slowing things down a little, and I'm not hating that. I love the sleazy vocal performance that we get here. This instrumental just slithers along and sounds so dangerous. A lot of the effects and the production come off really well too. It's not like Of Montreal don't have good ideas. But then we have this chorus that rolls around that is just batshit insane, noisy, punchy, in your face, so much so that compared to the laid back and sort of sleazy verses, it comes off so much more exciting. The contrast alone is worth the wait. This track is fun, it's funky at parts, I really like it. Modern Art Delivers is really good too. This track is easily the most dramatic and cinematic track here. This instrumental between these heavenly synths and this unbelievable atmosphere is actually pretty breathtaking. The strings are really classy as well. Kevin's performance, once again, it's a little bit more laid back, but he kind of melds with this very cinematic instrumental that we get here. I could just drift off to this, chill out, and have some fun. And some of the production tricks that we get later on once this track opens up harkens back to, like, I don't know, Panda Bear's person pitch. It's also just a really sweet track with some genuinely loving lyrics and, once again, some of Kevin's more coherent thoughts. Color me surprised, I'm really happy I checked out this album. Nightshift is really good too. The drama continues on this track, but it is a completely different level, mostly thanks to the synths. They are tense. They are so rigid, they sound like they're going to explode at any minute. And Kevin compliments them with one of his most erratic and strange and robotic and stiff and very manic performances here. The tense beat that we get here, alongside of Kevin's almost soulful vocals at times, makes for a really interesting contrast. This is awesome. So, this album was really hard for me to rate because when this album is bad, good God, like, I can't, like, I almost have to skip tracks here, and the tracks that are bad here take up a bulk of this album, which is a big, sort of miss for me. But when you do a little digging, especially in the middle parts of this album's actually probably some of Montreal's more coherent thoughts in quite a while. I mean, it's nothing groundbreaking. It's nothing wild. It's not going to get them back on a creative track, especially not this far into their career, but it's actually really enjoyable, fun, and genuinely out there. I just wish that the bad parts of this album didn't take up so much of it, because they are all very long tracks, but still, I have no problem with giving this album a very light 7, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you like the video, be sure to give us the like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, friends.